Students, welcome to NCERT CBSE Class 10, Subject Science, and the chapter Life Process. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn about the life processes which are going to be taking place inside the human body. So, previous to this class, in ninth standard, we have studied about the structure of cell and tissues. Okay, students. So we have studied about these things. So this is the part one of the chapter life process because it is a very vast and knowledgeable lesson. It is very big lesson. Hence I am going to make the parts here. So this is the first part of the chapter life process. So before going to begin this life process, first we are going to know about what are life processes. Life processes are the processes which are going to be taking place inside the body of an organism and they are necessary for the survival of the living organisms. So remember students, the processes which are taking place inside the body of a living organism and which are necessary for their survival in this earth or on this earth, those processes are called as what? Life processes. For example, respiration, nutrition, digestion, photosynthesis, transpiration, excretion, reproduction. So all the circulation, so transportation of materials, all these are the some important life processes which are going to be taking place inside the body of all the living organisms. Hence, in this lesson, we are going to know about some important life processes which are going to be taking place inside the body of animals as well as plants. Usually, especially in animals, we are going to consider our human body. Okay, so this is the introduction about the chapter life process. So first we are going to know about in this chapter is nutrition in plants and animals. So nutrition is also a very important life process which is going to be taking place inside the body of all the living organisms from microorganisms to all higher organisms. So nutrition is one of the important life process. About this in this chapter we are going to study about nutrition in plants as well as animals like higher organisms in human beings. So first we are going to know about what is nutrition. Nutrition is the process by which an organism takes food and utilizes it is called as what? Nutrition. Okay. Nutrition is the process by which an organism takes food and utilizes it is called as what? Nutrition. So this is the definition of what? Nutrition. So need for nutrition. What is the need for nutrition? In organisms, need energy to perform various activities. So energy is needed for all the organisms for functioning of the body parts as well as doing the external work also. Hence necessary energy is very necessary for all the living organisms. Organisms need the energy to perform various activities. This energy is supplied by the nutrients. What we are going to eat nutrients, from those nutrients we are going to get what? Energy. So hence energy is needed by all the organisms for various activities inside their body as well as external work also. Organisms need various raw materials for the growth and repair. So organisms not only need the nutrients, for this nutrients organism need various raw materials and growth and repair of the body. These raw materials are provided by what? Nutrients. The raw materials are provided by nutrients. Okay. So therefore, there is a need. This is about the importance or need of nutrition. Next, we are going to know about nutrients. So in our daily diet, we are eating so many nutrients or we are eating nutrient rich foods. Okay. So in poor countries, there are no nutrient rich foods are available, or in poor family, there is no availability of nutrient rich foods. But in when we go to higher order families or middle class families, they are going to be eating nutrient rich foods. Then what are nutrients? Materials which provide nutrition to organisms. Materials which provide nutrition to organisms are called as what? Nutrients. Okay. Carbohydrates, proteins and fats are the main nutrients and are called as macronutrients. Macronutrients. Remember friends, macronutrients means the nutrients which are needed for the organisms in large quantity are called as what? Macronutrients. Example for macronutrients are carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So in our daily diet we are eating so many carbohydrate rich fruits like what? Grains, okay, then potato, sweet potato, meat, okay, all these sweet fruits, sweet substances, sweet items, all these are containing what? Carbohydrates or starch rich items, all these are containing carbohydrates. Then we are also eating, not only eating carbohydrates, but we are also eating what? Protein rich foods in our diet. So which are the protein rich foods? Pulses, okay, ಬೇಳೆ ಕಾಳುಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, pulses, okay, then fish, meat, milk, egg, then prawn, all these are the protein rich and sprouted what? Pulses, ಮೊಳಕೆ ಬಂದ ಕಾಳುಗಳು. So all these are rich in what? Proteins. And we are also going to be eat fats in large quantity in our daily diet. So which are the examples of fats in our daily diet? So ghee, then butter, then chicken, mutton, all these are very rich in what? Fat content, what? Food items. So what are macronutrients? Macronutrients are those nutrients which are needed in large quantity in our diet. Those are called as what? Macronutrients. Examples of macronutrients are carbohydrates, proteins and fats, okay. Then minerals and vitamins are required in small amount, so they are needed in very small amount, and hence they are called as what? Micronutrients. Then what is the definition of micronutrients? Micronutrients are those nutrients which are needed by our body in very minute or in very small amount. Those are called as what? Micronutrients. For example, minerals and vitamins. So these are not needed in large quantity, they are needed in very small quantity, but they are essential, okay, hence they are called as what? Micronutrients. So there are two types of nutrients are there on the quantity, macro as well as micronutrients in our diet. Then mode of nutrition. In this chapter we are going to study about mode of nutrition. There are two types or two modes of nutrition are there. They are autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotropic mode of nutrition, okay. These are the two types of modes of nutrition. In this chapter we are going to study in detail about these two types of nutrition. So after knowing the modes of nutrition, there are mainly two types of modes of nutrition are there: autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotropic mode of nutrition. First we are going to know about autotrophic mode of nutrition. The mode of nutrition in which an organism prepare its own food is called as what? Autotrophic nutrition. So sometimes they are going to ask what are autotrophs or autotrophic mode of nutrition. The mode of nutrition in which an organism prepare its own food is called as what? Autotrophic mode of nutrition. Green plants and blue-green algae have the capacity to prepare their own food, okay. Green plants and blue-green algae follow the autotrophic mode of nutrition. The organisms which carry out autotrophic nutrition are called as what? Autotrophs. Remember students, what are autotrophs? The organisms which carry out autotrophic nutrition are called as what? Autotrophs. For example, green plants and blue-green algae are called as what? Autotrophs, because they have the capacity to synthesize their own food. Hence they are called as what? Autotrophs, okay. Then so supposing that autotrophs use simple inorganic materials, they use for their preparation of what food, they use simple inorganic materials like water, minerals. So all other important inorganic materials, by using them they are going to convert them into complex high energy yielding molecules like carbohydrates, okay. Autotrophs can use simple inorganic materials and convert them into complex high energy yielding molecules like carbohydrates. So this is the speciality about what? Autotrophic mode of nutrition and autotrophs, okay. So autotrophic nutrition is fulfilled by the process. It is going to be carried out by a process by which autotrophs intake carbon dioxide and water and convert these into carbohydrates, okay. Water and carbon dioxide are the simple inorganic materials. Remember students, name the simple inorganic substances or materials which are going to be used by autotrophs to synthesize their own food. Means there are two: carbon dioxide and water. Along with these they are going to use some amount of what minerals, okay, and convert these into carbohydrates in the presence of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll usually is present in the what chloroplast, and using sunlight is called as what photosynthesis. Remember students, what is photosynthesis? Autotrophic nutrition is fulfilled by the process by which autotrophs intake carbon dioxide and water and convert these into carbohydrates in the presence of chlorophyll. Sunlight is called photosynthesis, or we can also define photosynthesis in different ways. Okay, so just we have seen that how autotrophic mode of nutrition is going to be taking place. So in the autotrophic mode of nutrition, all the green plants and blue green algae utilize carbon dioxide, water, solar energy, and in the presence of chlorophyll they will prepare sugars or carbohydrates and release oxygen as well as water molecule. So this process is called as what photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is can be represented with a chemical equation. So here you can observe 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water are combining together utilizing the solar energy in the presence of chlorophyll of the leaves, and they convert them into carbohydrate, that is glucose plus oxygen, and some amount of water is also released. So this is the symbolic representation of what photosynthesis process. Okay students. So next we are going to see nutrition in plants. Green plants prepare their own food. We have just seen that in the process of photosynthesis, all the green plants are going to prepare their own food. They make food in the process in the presence of sunlight. Sunlight provides energy. So carbon dioxide and water are the raw materials and chloroplast is the site where food is going to be prepared. Remember students, green plants prepare their own food. They make food in the presence of sunlight. Utilize which energy is going to be utilized by the green plants for the preparation of their own food? They utilize solar energy. Sunlight contains solar energy. Sunlight provides energy. The energy needed by the plants is going to be provided by solar energy or sunlight. Carbon dioxide and water are the raw materials which are going to be utilized by the atmosphere. Okay, utilized from the atmosphere, and chloroplast is the site where food is going to be prepared. So chloroplast acts like the kitchen of the plant cell. Have you remembered this word? Chloroplast is called as the kitchen of the plant cell. We have seen this in the 9th standard also, because the food is going to be prepared in the chloroplast of the leaves. Hence chloroplast is called as what? Kitchen of the plant cell. So nutrition in this is about the nutrition in plants. Next, we are going to study about detail in about photosynthesis process. The process by which green plants prepare their food is called as what? Simply we are called it as photosynthesis. During this process, the solar energy is converted into chemical energy and carbohydrates are formed. During the process of photosynthesis, solar energy is going to be converted into chemical energy. So by the process of photosynthesis, and they are gets converted into carbohydrates. Okay, green leaves are the main site of photosynthesis. Remember students, green leaves are the main sites of photosynthesis. The green portion of the plant contains a pigment, chloroplast. In that chloroplast, a green pigment is present known as chlorophyll. This chlorophyll is responsible for the absorption of solar energy and converting it into chemical energy. Hence the sites of the photosynthesis are leaves. Inside the leaves, where it is going to be taking place? Inside the leaves it is going to be taking place a green pigment known as chloroplast and chlorophyll. Okay, the whole process of photosynthesis can be shown by the following equation. Okay, so now we are going to see about the whole equation of photosynthesis, how it is going to be taking place. So remember students, leaves are the main sites of what? Photosynthesis. When we cut the cross section of leaf, we are going to see this diagram. So this is the upper epidermis, main epidermis, and this is called as what? Upper epidermis. On the upper epidermis there is a thin layer of cuticle is present, which is made up of what? Fats and lipids. Okay, that fatty cuticle layer protects the inner parts of the leaves from what? High efficiency sunlight, okay, sun rays. Okay, Inside that, inside the leaves, we are also seeing what? Chlorophyll filled or chloroplast filled cells. These are called as what? Mesophyll cells. These are the upper one are called as palisade mesophyll and the lower one are called as what? Spongy mesophyll. In between these cells, there are empty spaces are present. These empty spaces are filled with what? Air. Okay. So they are called as what? Air chambers. Okay. In the lower side of the leaves, we are going to say another layer that is called as what? Lower epidermis. In lower epidermis, we are going to see these different types of cells. These cells are called as what? Guard cells. Kavalu Jivakoshakal ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. These are called as what? Guard cells. In between the guard cells, there is a space is present, empty space. That empty space is nothing but that is a pore. Those pores are called as what? Stomata. There are innumerous numbers of stomata are present on the lower side of the leaves. Every leaf is having uncountable number of what? Stomatas are going to be containing. So when we see them in the graphical representation or 3D mode, this is the upper side of the leaf, this is the epidermis, upper epidermis, these are the mesophyll cells and these are the spongy mesophyll cell. Then they are containing what? Chloroplast. This is xylem and phloem. This you have studied in 9th standard. What are xylem and phloem? Xylem are the water conducting tissue and phloem are these are the phloems. These are the phloem. These are called as what? Phloem. These are the food conducting tissues. Okay. Xylem and phloem are also present inside the cross section of the leaves. Students, this is about the structure of leaves where the photosynthesis process or the preparation of food is going to be taking place. In the examination, they will ask this diagram for 2 marks. Draw a neat label diagram of cross section of leaf. Remember students, this is very important. Tomorrow you can, all of you can draw these diagram for 2 times and add it to the group. Okay. So next students, in this chapter we are going to learn about the raw materials which are needed for the photosynthesis. So there are different raw materials are needed for the photosynthesis. First one is going to be sunlight. So sunlight provides solar energy for the preparation of what? Food. So this sunlight is going to be trapped by chlorophyll and absorbed. Trapped means absorbed by chlorophyll. So these chlorophylls are present in the chloroplast. So in the 9th standard you have drawn the structure of what? Chloroplast. Chloroplast is going to be containing 2 important parts. Those are stroma and grana. So granas are the regions where the chlorophyll is going to be filled. These chlorophyll is having the capacity to trap the sunlight and convert it into chemical energy. So first raw material is sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere. Okay, this carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere enters the leaves through stomata. So this carbon dioxide enters through stomata and oxygen is released and as byproduct through the stomata on the leaf during the process of photosynthesis. Which is the byproduct which is going to be released as gas is oxygen. This oxygen is also coming out from the leaves through the stomata only. So stomata helps in the exchange of gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen. So carbon dioxide is the another raw material. Then water. Water plus dissolved minerals like nitrogen, phosphorus, carbon, then magnesium, sodium, all these are the essential nutrients which are needed by the plants. These are dissolved in the water. Along with water, these are going to be taken up by the roots from the xylem tissue from the soil. So these are the 4 raw materials which are utilized by the plants during the process of photosynthesis. Next, how do raw materials for photosynthesis become available to the plants? That means how they are going to be take these raw materials which are needed for the photosynthesis. First we are going to say about water. Water comes from the soil through the xylem tissue in the roots and stems. So this xylem tissue is present in roots as well as stems. First roots absorb minerals and water from the soil, then they will transfer it to the xylem. Through xylem it goes up to the leaves where the leaves are going to be present, through the stem, through the which tissue? Xylem tissue. So water is going to be absorbed from the soil through the xylem tissue in the roots and stems. Then carbon dioxide comes in the leaves through stomata. So how they are going to be taking or how these raw materials are going to be available to the plant means They are available through the xylem tissue, which are going to be present in roots and stems, and stomata, which is going to be absorbing carbon dioxide. Okay, so these are the some important things which are going to be related to the process of photosynthesis, which is going to be taking place in the leaves. Next, we are going to know about site of photosynthesis. The site of photosynthesis is chloroplast, which are present in the leaves. Okay, chloroplast contains chlorophyll. This chlorophyll is present in the grana of the chloroplast. There are two parts are present in the chloroplast. Those are stroma and grana. Okay, in the grana, chlorophyll is present. This chlorophyll is a green pigment which gives green color to the all parts of the plant body. Wherever green color is present in the plant body, remember there is what present? Chlorophyll is present. This chlorophyll has the capacity to trap the solar energy and convert it into chemical energy. So this is the chloroplast is the main site of photosynthesis in plants. Next, we are going to know about main events which are going to be taking place in the process of photosynthesis. First, absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. So the chlorophyll which is going to be present in the leaves traps the solar energy. That means absorption of the solar energy is going to be done by chlorophyll. So after absorption of solar energy, conversion of solar energy or light energy into chemical energy plus splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen is going to be taking place inside the leaves only. So remember students, next step is conversion of light energy into chemical energy plus splitting or breaking of water into hydrogen and oxygen is going to be taking place. After this, reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. After when water is going to be splitted into hydrogen and oxygen, these hydrogen combines with carbon dioxide and forms carbohydrates. Okay, reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Okay, sunlight activates chlorophyll. When sunlight falls on the leaves, the chlorophyll which is going to be present inside the leaves is going to be activated, which leads to splitting of the water molecule. When this chlorophyll is activated, this activated chlorophyll splits the water or breaks down the water utilizing solar energy. Okay, then the hydrogen released by the splitting of water molecule is utilized. When water is splitted into hydrogen and oxygen, the hydrogen gas which is released by the splitting of water is going to be utilized for the reduction of carbon dioxide to produce carbohydrates. So this is next step. Then after the preparation of carbohydrates, oxygen is the byproduct of photosynthesis. That means oxygen is going to be released. Here splitting, after the splitting of what? Water into hydrogen and oxygen, this oxygen is not utilized, it is going to be released outside the leaves by stomata. Oxygen is the byproduct of photosynthesis. Carbohydrate is subsequently converted into starch and is stored in the leaves and other storage parts. First product of photosynthesis is carbohydrate. After the formation of carbohydrate or synthesis of carbohydrates, subsequently this carbohydrate is converted into starch and is stored in leaves and other parts of the storage parts of the plants. The splitting of water molecule is a part of the light reaction. Remember students, in chloroplast there are two types of reactions are going to be taking place. One is light reaction and one is dark reaction. About these light and dark reactions you have studied in 8th standard also. Light reaction always takes place in grana and dark reaction always takes place in stroma of the chloroplast. So the splitting of water molecules is a part of light reaction. Light reaction always needs solar energy or light. In the presence of light only this light reaction is going to be taking place. So these are the main events or steps which are going to be involved in the process of photosynthesis. This is very important. Please note down students. So students, after knowing the photosynthesis in detail, we are going to know about stomata also. Why we are going to know about stomata? Stomata are also going to be play a vital role in the process of nutrition in plants. So what are stomata? These are the tiny pores present in the epidermis of leaf, usually in the lower epidermis of leaf or stem, through which gaseous exchange and transpiration occurs. Okay, stomatas are the tiny pores present in the epidermis of leaf or stem through which gaseous exchange and transpiration occurs. Okay, now we are going to see the structure of stomata. So this is the structure of stomata. So stomata is made up of two bean shaped cells, these are what you are observing, green cells. So light green cells, these are called as what? Guard cells. These guard cells are going to be containing what? Chloroplast. Okay, remember students, these guard cells are green in color and they are bean shaped and they contain chloroplast. This chloroplast helps to prepare their own food. Okay, next these guard cells are going to be surrounded by what? Epidermal cells. Okay, these are the cells which are going to be surrounding the what? Guard cells, and these are called as what? Epidermal cells. Each guard cell is having two walls, outer wall as well as inner wall. Are you seeing here this thick green colored wall? That is called as what? Inner wall, and this is the outer wall. Okay, two guard cells are present. In between there is a white colored gap is there. That gap is nothing but stomata or stomatal pores. So sometimes they are going to be closing and sometimes they are going to be closing. So next we are going to see about how stomata are going to be closing and opening. Opening and closing of stomata plays a vital role in the process of transpiration as well as exchange of gases. So remember students, 1 marks or in 1 marks, or remember all the parts which are going to be labeled here. So on this diagram 2 times they have asked multiple choice questions regarding the diagram only. Okay, next we are going to see about the functions of stomata. So what is the main functions of stomata? Stomata help in the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So this stomata which are going to be present in numerous numbers on the lower epidermis of the leaves helps in the exchange of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. So lose a large amount of water during transpiration. That means they also play a vital role in the process of transpiration. Okay. So after knowing the structure of stomata, we are going to know about the opening and closing process of stomata. Okay. So for this we need the diagram of stomata once again. So the opening and closing of stomatal pores are controlled by turgidity of the guard cell. So these are the two guard cells which are going to be present in every stomata. They are guarding the what? Stomatal pores. Okay. So the turgidity of the guard cells is going to be very important for the opening and closing process of stomatal pores. When guard cells uptake water from the surrounding cells, what are the cells which are the cells which are going to be surrounding the guard cells? They are epidermal cells. Epidermal cells contain water molecules. Okay, when the water molecules move from higher concentration to lower concentration through the process of what? Osmosis, then what? The guard cells are going to be bulging in size. That means they are going to be bulging or enlarging in size. When they are going to be enlarged, the gap which is present in between the two guard cells is going to be also increasing. Okay, so now the what is stomatal pores are open. Like this, the stomatal pores are going to be opening. Remember students, when guard cells uptake water from surrounding cells, they swell to become a turgid body. They are going to be, after intaking the water molecules from the surrounding cells, they are going to be bulging or they are swollen. Hence, they are going to be turgid in body, which enlarges the pores in between. The pore which is present in between the two guard cells is going to be enlarging. That is called as what? Stomatal opening. While when the water is released, when the water which is present in the what? Guard cells is going to be released outside the cell, then they become flaccid. That flaccid shrinking. Okay, that means they are going to be shrinking in size. Due to this, the gap which is present in between the two guard cells is going to be lessened. So due to that, the stomatal pores are going to be closing. Like this, opening and closing of stomata takes place in the leaves of the plants according to the climatic conditions. Okay, about these conditions, what are the conditions necessary for opening and closing of stomata, you are going to study in detail in our higher classes when you go to the PUC. Next, we are going to study about significance of photosynthesis. That is, what is the importance of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the main way through which solar energy is made available for the different living beings, directly or indirectly. Okay, photosynthesis is the main way through which solar energy is made available for different living beings, directly or indirectly. Students, supposing that plants are utilizing solar energy directly, but animals are utilizing solar energy indirectly by eating the plant products. Okay, green plants are the main producers of food in the ecosystem. In the ecosystem, green plants are the main producers. All other organisms directly or indirectly depend on the green plants for their food. Okay, the process of photosynthesis also helps in maintaining the balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the atmosphere. Okay, the amount of or the content of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the atmosphere is going to be maintained by the process of photosynthesis. Hence, these are the three important significance of photosynthesis. You can take down, students, now.